It's Thursday night, and you know what that means. It's another edition of Strictly Sports. However, it's one of our biggest editions of Strictly Sports of the calendar year, our annual 2021 NBA Draft Recap, or I should say our annual NBA Draft Recap, which we will get into in just a moment. So, with that being said, hello, friends. Anthony Florio here, joined this evening by Girl MF Michael Fletcher. Unfortunately, Michael Bullock will not be with us this evening. He messaged me moments ago informing me that he will not be on our show tonight. He will, however, be back with us tomorrow night for the Cerebral Smack Talk. So don't worry, you'll get your Bullock fix tomorrow night for the Cerebral Smack Talk over on MF Channel Brace Fan 95 at this time tomorrow night. But for right now, I say we hold on that for a moment because of the fact that, we're going to start this show off with what has been a staple of our Strictly Sports shows over the last few weeks. And I know it's been very popular with our viewers and they love it. And hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, as the old saying goes. And with that being said, hopefully he's got his notes all ready to go. I'm going to turn the mic over to Girl MF Michael Fletcher because it is time once again for MF's weekly Big Three basketball recap. But this is not your normal one. From what MF has told me, this is going to be a supersized Big Three basketball recap. Am I right on that, MF?
Big Three supersize recap because all the games were today. They went down in Milwaukee, Wisconsin at the Pfizer Forum, the home of the brand new NBA World Champions, the Milwaukee Bucks. They had 6 games today exclusively on Fight TV and on Thriller. If you had that, that's where the games were. But don't worry, folks. For those people in Chicago, it's like, hey, wait a minute, what the hell? What happened? What does that mean? Don't worry, guys. We got you because there's more basketball on Saturday from the Credit Union One Arena, which I believe that's the Rosemont Horizon in Chicago, Illinois, this Saturday. So we'll set you up with that. But until then, here is the start of the supersize. 6 games today. We started off with the Ghost Ballers and Anthony's, I guess, new favorite team in the Big Three, Threes Company. Sorry, Anthony, bad news. Ghost Ballers wins it. They go to 4-1 on the year, 50 to 38. Now, normally I would go with the stats and everything else, but because we got the NBA draft and I want to give a lot of time to that, I'm not going to give a full recap. So with that said, the next game we had on the docket, which ended up being the game of the day, it was Power going one-on-one against Tri-State. Power wins it 50 to 47. This was the game of the day, back and forth all the way to the end. Tri-State tried to make a late comeback, but Power slammed the door on them just in the nick of time. They were the first team to get to the 50-point mark and win it. Both teams now at 3-2 on the year. Then in the third game, it was the Killer Threes versus Bivouac. Killer Threes blows them out. 50 to 30 final score. Killer Threes goes to 3-2. Bivouac, poor Bivouac, man. 0-5 on the year. The only team that does not have a win in the Big Three this season. Next up we had was Ball Hogs versus Trilogy. And in many that's going to consider this a major upset, the Ball Hogs knocks off Trilogy 50 to 45. Ball Hogs gets a big win. They continue their winning ways. They're 2-2. Trilogy, this was their first loss of the year. They fall to 3-2. Ball Hogs now goes to 3-2 as well. Next up, we had on the docket here, we had the reigning champion Triplets versus the Three-Headed Monsters. The Triplets remain undefeated, 5-0 on the year, winning it 50 to 45, 51 to 45, I should say. Three-Headed Monsters are now 3-2 on the docket as well. And then in the battle of the aliens versus the enemies, the aliens gets their first win in the Big Three this season. 50-42 was the final score. Enemies fall to 1-4, and aliens finally off the schneid with their first win of the year. Now on Saturday, like we said, traditionally this is set it up. So Saturday we got another 6 games to go. We got the Ball Hogs going up against Tri-State. We got Trilogy against Ghost Ballers. Killer Threes will go up against the Killer Threes, and Triplets are going at it. Power and the Aliens are going at it. The Enemies will go up against the Three-Headed Monsters, and Bivouac goes up against Anthony's favorite team, Three's Company. And all these games will be held at the Credit Union One Arena in Chicago. So this is the final. This is week number 5. This will be week number 5, back to back. Then we go back to Vegas for 2 more. That will be week 7 and 8, and that leads us to the postseason at the Bahamas at the Atlantis in the Bahamas at Nassau. And the top 4 makes it to the semifinal. And then the week after, we crown the 2021 Big 3 champions. So we're halfway home. Now we're getting into the second half of the season. This is going to get very interesting, Anthony, because now from here on out, it's basically anything goes. And like I said, going as we're getting closer to the end, now you're starting to see jockeying up position. Just to give you a layout of the standings as of right now, like I said, top 4 goes through to Nassau and to the Bahamas. And right now, as I'm waiting for this to pop up, right now, Triplets are running away with it. They are the top dogs right now. They are right now at a 5-0 record. Ghost Ballers right now at 4-1. They are right now in the mix. Trilogy, and then you got yourself a mess at the top. You got literally a 5-way tie for what essentially for 2 spots. You got Trilogy at 3-2, Tri-State 3-2, Killer Threes at 3-2, Three-Headed Monster at 3-2, Power at 3-2, and Ball Hogs at 3-2. So you got literally, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 teams at 3-2. Only 2 spots out of those 6, it's going to go through. So you don't have to look at the top. If you look at that middle, oh boy, there's some jockeying positioning right now. So a lot of excitement on the Big 3. Yes, Trilogy and Ghost Ballers are looking really good right now, but you got a log jam of 3-2 teams. 6 of them fighting for 2 spots to get into the playoff, Anthony. Exciting times in the Big 3 as I turn it back to you so that we can do the NBA draft.
Yes, indeed. And yeah, very, very interesting what's going on there. I had said supersized recap because I thought you were going to, I thought for a moment you were going to address the scores from week number 4 in Dallas.
I could hit that quickly. Yeah. I'm sorry. I thought I forgot. I actually forgot about the Dallas because I was so caught up in today's action because of the games that went down in Milwaukee. But yeah, I'll hit it quick. So what Anthony's alluding to was the games in Dallas. I'll do it quick. You don't have to mute your mic on this. Basically, what we had was the Ghost Ballers beat Ball Hog. The final score was 50-35 on that one. Then we had the Killer Threes knocking off Power 50-41. Not game of the day. Then we had triplets beating enemies 50-39, remaining undefeated. Like I said, this was the game of the day. Actually, we had two game of the days. The first game of the day, Tri-State knocking off Three's Company 50-45. Then we had Trilogy knocking off the Aliens 50-32. And this was essentially the game of the day. The last game on the docket on the big three-headed monsters knocking off Bivouac 51-48 final score. So Anthony, there you go. Now you're all caught up. And with the big three, unfortunately, guys, if you're looking for the big three next week, not happening. No show next week because me and Michael Bullock, we got a very special announcement at the end of the show tonight. So be prepared for that.
Absolutely. Yep. And I know what that is, and we will address that at the end of the show. And I'm not at all surprised because the two of you, along with another dear friend of ours who is now one of the newest members of our broadcast team. You guys have a very busy night next week, and I certainly fully understand that, no doubt about that. So, but anyways, let's get into the real business at hand. As you can see by the header here, the 2021 NBA draft has come and gone, and now it's time to see how quickly potential can transform into on-court results. There were certainly a number of surprises in the draft, namely the Toronto Raptors taking Scotty Barnes over Jalen Suggs, Josh Giddey going at number 6 to the Oklahoma City Thunder, and Josh Primo jumping into the lottery. It's obviously difficult for us to put grades on prospects before we've even seen them play an NBA game. But this is our time here. It's now we're going to take a look at each team's draft night, see how the process unfolded. So we are going to go through all the teams and assign grades for all of their draft picks as a whole, and it'll be interesting to see how things evolve over the course of these players' careers. You know how we do it. For those of you who may not know, we've done this every year, probably since we started this show. This is our annual NBA draft recap, and what we're going to do, we're going to go through each team in alphabetical order. We'll run down the list of picks, and then we'll give a brief analysis and a grade. So with that being said, let's start it off with our first team. That would be the Atlanta Hawks. And they selected at number 20, Jalen Johnson, a forward from Duke. And number 48, they selected Sharif Cooper, a guard from Auburn. Johnson is a lottery talent who dropped to Atlanta at number 20, and Cooper was projected to be a first-round pick in many mock drafts. The Hawks swung for the fences with these two picks, and they'll almost certainly present good value eventually for the point at the draft in which they grabbed them. Cooper is a potential long-term backup for Trae Young, which Atlanta sorely needed, and Johnson has the potential to play multiple positions and fit into various lineups. Both may take a while to develop, but the Hawks are deep enough to be patient. My grade is a B+, so MF. Atlanta Hawks, the Eastern Conference, coming off a rare Eastern Conference Finals appearance. How do they do in the draft here?
The Hawks selected Johnson with their first-round pick, a scoring forward out of Duke. Johnson is active on the glass and likes to push the ball in transition with plus ball handling and passing skills as a forward. He's a threat to pick and roll because of the ability to score himself and find the open man if the defense is collapsed, something that is a fair rare on an elite guard with Trae Young. But his draft stock among the most versatile in the draft class, as he doesn't pose much as a threat on the perimeter and is an okay defender. Cooper was a steal at 48, giving the Hawks a serviceable backup point guard that they need. He is one of the best passers in the draft class and feels that his game makes him a great floor general. For me, it was a solid B for me, Anthony, for the Atlanta Hawks.
All right. Next up, MF, you'll start off on our next team, which is happens to be Michael Bullock's team, the Boston Celtics. They had one pick. It was at number 45, and they selected Yuhan Begarin, a guard from France. MF, what's the grade for the Celtics lone pick?
You're not gonna like this, Mike Bullock. I'm sorry. The Celtics went with a draft and stash player from Bulgaria, from France, an athletic with a 7-foot wingspan and a knack for putting pressure at the rim, with a first quick step and great hops. However, not my cup of tea. Sorry, Mike Bullock. C- for the Boston Celtics. Florio, what's yours?
I'm gonna meet you in the middle there, MF. A rare draft in which the Celtics did not make multiple picks. Boston selected Begarin, a 6'5" guard out of France with a 7-foot wingspan. With the 45th pick, he's expected to be a draft and stash candidate, so he may not see the floor for the Celtics next season. After the Kemba Walker trade, Boston could have used the point guard, but it's unlikely they would have found a starting caliber guard with number 45. So taking a big swing might not be the worst idea. So I'm going to meet MF halfway in the middle, and I'm going to give this a solid C. So with that being said, let's move on to our next team, which happens to be the Brooklyn Nets. Just give me 1 second here.
You too. Instacart. Shop like you without.
And a lot of pop-up videos on this. Yep, and here comes another one. So, all right, get that out of here. All right. Next up is the Brooklyn Nets, and they had 5 picks. Number 27, Cam Thomas, a guard from LSU. Number 29, Day'Ron Sharpe, a center from North Carolina via the Phoenix Suns. Number 44, Kessler Edwards, a forward from Pepperdine. Number 49, Marcus Zegarowski, a guard from Creighton. And number 59, Raekwon Gray, a forward from Florida State. The Nets filled 2 major needs in the first round with a bucket-getting guard in Thomas and a bruising backup center with playmaking potential in Sharpe. Considering the team could owe over $500 million in extensions to Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, and James Harden, it makes sense for them to grab as many rotation caliber players as possible in the draft. Edwards, Zegarowski, and Gray should all be able to compete for a spot on the opening day roster. B+ for the Brooklyn Nets. And with that, MF, let's get your thoughts on the Brooklyn Nets.
Slight disagreement, Anthony. I give it a B-. The team was looking to contend for a championship. It is surprising that the Nets made 5 different draft selections. Landon Thomas, who is a second pure scorer in the draft class after Jalen Green. But as far as scoring from the Brooklyn is being the biggest issue. While Thomas gives them a second unit of catering, of shot creating, and bucket getting, it was wise to target a versatile defender. The Nets added some front court depth with Sharpe out of UNC. He is the definition of the old school bag man who clocks the paint and plays with the back to the basket. He's a good rebounder and shot blocker and will be a perfect fit alongside the big octane trio that they got. Aforementioned defense versatile with a second round getting Edwards and Gray, and Zegarowski is a prolific shooter. So it's a B- for me. Nothing bad to say. Anthony, it's yours.
All right, MF. You start off the next team, and that is the Charlotte Hornets. And they selected at number 11, James Bouknight, a guard from UConn. At number 19, they acquired Kai Jones, a center from Texas via the New York Knicks. Number 37, acquired JT Thor, a forward from Auburn via the Detroit Pistons. And at number 56, selected Scotty Lewis, a guard from Florida. MF, your grade for the Charlotte Hornets.
Charlotte was one of the winners of the draft in my mind. It was an A+ for them. The Hornets had one of the best drafts with the league. With only the Golden State challenging them on that notion, they got some beneficiaries of explosive scoring, sliding down to number 10 as a player anticipated to be outside of the top 5 in many people's mock draft. Then they traded a future first round to the New York Knicks for the 19th pick and landed Jones, filling a much-needed void in the middle Jones to Charlotte was one of the best picks in the mock draft, and a lot of people in the mock draft believed that he was going to be there, to say the very least. The idea of LaMelo Ball pushing the pace transition with some of the key weapons that they got was absolutely great. A productive night for the Charlotte Hornets, A+, and one of the winners of the 2021 NBA draft for me. Anthony, it's yours.
Yeah, the Hornets had a second straight outstanding draft, landing a potential prolific scorer in Boonite, then trading for Jones, a rim runner who will be able to get out on the break with LaMelo Ball and potentially space the floor to three-point range. Thor is another super athlete who needs to develop but has tremendous upside, while Lewis, as an older prospect, could potentially earn some backup point guard minutes right away. I'm right there with you, MF. Smidgen lower, solid A. That's my grade. Solid A. I do agree with you. It is for the Charlotte Hornets. Next up, it's the team of MF and Matt Ward. I don't really follow them anymore, but I know MF and Matt Ward still follow this team religiously, and that is the Chicago Bulls, and they only had one pick. At number 38, they selected Ayo Dosunmu, a guard from the University of Illinois. Dosunmu was almost unanimously considered a first-round talent leading up to the draft, so the Bulls did well to get him with their only pick at number 38. His shot creation and playmaking should translate immediately to the NBA, which could allow him to fight for backup minutes on a Bulls team that lacked bench scoring last season. Solid A for this lone Chicago Bulls pick. So, MF, how did you and Ward like this pick?
I'm personally a huge fan of Damasu. He's a pure winner and a floor general that leads example. Strong playmaking, embraces the contact on the drive at the rim, plays tough on-ball defense. He's one of the best guards in college basketball last year. He could give Chicago a steady and experienced presence in the backcourt. I'm gonna give this an A-. I thought they did a really good job with the pick. An A- for me for the Chicago Bulls. And Anthony, not only is that great, but look at what has happened with all the other moves that Chicago has done. I think Chicago has turned it around, and oh boy, has it gotten very interesting for the Bulls now. They're not really a contender, but they definitely have a shot at the playoffs next year.
Oh, most definitely. And moving on, next up, MF will start off on this one. Staying within the Central Division, it is the Cleveland Cavaliers, and they only had one pick as well, but they had the number 3 overall pick, and they got them a big one. They got a big one. At number 3, the Cleveland Cavaliers selected Evan Mobley, center, USC. MF, what a pick for Cleveland.
Yeah, it was a great pick. It's an A pick for me. They got their guy. This was the guy that they were hoping to get at the top, and they did get it. He's versatile, able to play inside or outside as a power forward or a center, and makes a fit work. Even with them eject on everything that they have done, he's going to be a formidable tandem with anybody on the Cavaliers squad. This was, for me, a solid A. I think he did absolutely incredible, more than anything else. And yeah, Cleveland, they could not mess this up. Mobley was the third best guy on the draft board. A lot of people had him going there. It was almost a foregone conclusion. If they would have gone somewhere else, they would have shocked the draft board. To get Mobley at 3, this was expected. Many mock drafts had this happening. Cleveland just went by the status quo. Well done. Great move. Anthony, it's yours.
Right there with you. Ideally, you'd want more than one bite at the apple as a team fighting to make the playoffs like the Cavs, but they landed a player who some believe could ultimately become the best in his draft class in Mobley. A 7-footer with guard skills, Mobley is the ideal modern big man with his ability to stretch the floor and switch defensively. The fact that he was available at number 3 avoided any potential redundancy with Jalen Green, and the existing Cleveland backcourt of Colin Sexton and Darius Garland. So overall, the Cavs have to be thrilled. A+ for me, no doubt about that. So let's move on to our next team. And next team in alphabetical order, it would be the Dallas Mavericks, but no picks. Dallas stayed quiet and elected not to trade into the draft. So for myself and MF, this is going to be an automatic NA. So
this is what we call pass.
Yeah, pass indeed. And believe it or not, they're not the only team.
No, I think there was another team that actually.
There's actually a few more. So,
there was quite a few. Yeah.
Yeah, they're not the only ones. So on behalf of MF and myself, this is going to be a dual NA for the Dallas Mavericks. So nothing more to say there. Let's move on to our next team, and that is the Denver Nuggets, rising team in the Western Conference. And they selected. They only had one pick, and their lone pick came at number 26. Nah'Shon Hyland, a guard out of VCU. And I believe this one goes to me. So Hyland shot up draft boards, partly due to a strong combine performance, and he obviously caught Denver's attention. He's one of the most confident shooters in the draft, regularly launching from well beyond the three-point line, and is a slithery finisher around the basket. Ideally, he'd improve his playmaking, but the Nuggets need a scoring guard, with Jamal Murray set to miss a good chunk of next season. A- for this lone pick of the Denver Nuggets. So, MF, how do you feel about the pick?
Partial disagreement. I'm going to go with a solid A. Like you said, they actually got one. They filled a void at the backcourt that they needed exactly in Garland to burst onto the scene. He burst onto the scene with a very good draft combine, and then he's a fluid scorer, shot creator. He already has some setbacks and floaters in the arsenal, but that gives him just a much needed punch, and it's actually necessary because Jamal Murray is suffering from a torn ACL. So Garland's Bones is really gonna become a big time contributor right out of the jump. To be on the team. So yeah, nothing more to say. Anthony, it's yours.
All right, and we move on to the next team. It's the Detroit Basketball Pistons, and they had 4 picks, including the number 1 overall pick, and they used that number 1 overall pick on Cade Cunningham, a guard out of Oklahoma State. At number 42, they then selected Isaiah Livers, a guard out of Michigan. Number 52, Luka Garza, the forward out of Iowa. And at number 57, they acquired Balsa Koprivica, a center out of Florida State, via the Charlotte Hornets. So, MF, based on these picks, I think it might be time to start saying, I think it's time for Mason to start saying Detroit basketball all over again.
Oh yeah. You know what? You know how he lets us say it, man. Get up, Motown. It's time to meet the ballers it's time to meet and greet the ballers representing your Detroit Pistons. And yeah, there's definitely some ballers on this team. When you get Luka Garza and Cade Cunningham in the same draft, oh my God. Does anybody know how good Luka Garza was? And I know he was underrated. I mean, for him to be in that position, I mean, that's absolutely ridiculous. But the way that this team is set it up, oh yeah, solid A for me. When you get Luka Garza, you get Cade Cunningham, and then you also get Isaiah Livers, who's actually a pretty good player from Michigan too. The only one I'm a little not so sure about is Kaprizov from Florida. I don't really know much about him, but the other 3 guys, oh man, what a steal for Detroit. I mean, just like Charlotte and one other team that we're going to be talking about very soon, they were definitely the winners of this draft. So nothing more to say. Anthony, it's yours.
Every rebuilding franchise is looking for a cornerstone, and that's exactly what the Pistons got in Cade Cunningham. One of the most complete prospects in recent memory. That alone would have been enough for an A grade. But they also added some intriguing second-round picks in Livers, National College Player of the Year Garza, and Karifica. Solid A for the Detroit basketball Pistons. Well done. Next up, the Golden State Warriors, and they had 2 picks. They selected at number 7, Jonathan Kuminga, a forward from the G League Ignite. And at number 14, they selected Moses Moody, a guard/forward out of Arkansas. So, I start this one off. So, not only did Jonathan Kuminga, one of the best upside prospects in the draft, fall to the Warriors at number 7, but they were also able to secure a player that should help them win right away in Moses Moody at number 14. If the idea is to build for the future while returning to championship contention, they could have done much better than their 2 picks. They couldn't have done much better than their 2 picks. Kuminga also immediately becomes an intriguing asset to add to a trade package if and when the next superstar becomes available. Solid A for the Golden State Warriors. MF, are these 2 enough to get the Warriors back into that upper echelon in the Western Conference that they once had a stranglehold on?
Well, they'll be back in the upper echelon, no doubt about it. But it won't. It's just going to be not just a combo of the draft picks, but there's some other things that they're going to really need to do. But it is cool. They do get an A for me. They did a serviceable job, no doubt about it. I thought they could have done a little better, but out of everything that they did to get Moody and to get Kuminga, look, that's just the tip of the iceberg. You know, you get a solid draft pick, but now if Klay Thompson comes back fully healthy, you know that Steph Curry is ready. Andrew Wiggins, you got some other weapons there, dude. I'm gonna say it. Golden State is back, better than ever. They're gonna be stronger than ever. And boy, they're going to be a problema next year. I know everybody's talking about Lakers now because Lakers made some moves. Chicago made some moves. The Knicks are making moves. You know, you got all these teams. Don't worry. There's a team in the Bay Area named the Golden State Warriors that many people probably forgot. Guess what? They're coming back, and they're going to be stronger than ever. That Western Conference is going to be insane next year. Nothing more to say. It's an A for me, Anthony. Let's move on.
And we move on to the team that, believe it or not, ended up finishing with the worst overall record in the NBA last season, the Houston Rockets. And they had 4 selections, and they had the number 2 overall pick. The second overall pick was theirs. And with that number 2 pick, they selected Jalen Green, a guard from G League Ignite. Number 16, they acquired Alperen Sengun, a center out of Turkey, via the Oklahoma City Thunder. Number 23, they selected Usman Garuba, a forward from Spain. And at number 24, they selected Josh Christopher, a guard out of Arizona State. So MF, Houston Rockets, they had the worst record last season. Will these guys get them out of there?
I don't know if they're going to get them out of there, but it is a step in the right direction for them. It was a B+ for me. I thought they did pretty well with the picks that they got. To get Jalen Green was actually a great pick. That was one of their top guys that they really needed it to get. So at the end of the day, I thought they did a solid job. So I really got nothing more to add there, Anthony. So, but like I said, a solid pick at the end of the day, and I'm going to give it a B+ for the Houston Rockets. So, Anthony, it's yours.
The Rockets may have lost James Harden last season, but they gave the Houston fan base reason for hope. They started by taking Jalen Green, a potential franchise scorer and playmaker, at number 2, then added high upside prospects Alperen Sengun, Usman Garuba, and Josh Christopher. All four of those young players have tremendous upside and are perfect for a team that's just beginning its rebuild. Disagreement on this, solid A. I love these picks for the Houston Rockets. Next up, it is the Indiana Pacers. They had 2 picks. They selected with the number 13 pick, they selected Chris Duarte, a guard from Oregon. And at number 22, they acquired Isaiah Jackson, a center from Kentucky, from the Los Angeles Lakers and via the Washington Wizards. Very confusing there. But anyways, the Pacers got some win now help in Duarte, a knockdown shooter who has potential as a playmaker and shot creator, then traded for Jackson, a 6'10 center with a 7'4 wingspan, who profiles as an elite rim protector and lob catcher. Both fill a need for the Pacers, and they're convinced that Duarte was the right guy at number 13. But they could have taken a slightly bigger swing at some of the higher upside prospects still available. Solid B for the Indiana Pacers. MF, your thoughts?
Partial disagreement. I actually like their picks a lot more better than you did, Anthony. I'm going to give it an A minus. I actually did like the Duarte pick a lot better, and to get Isaiah Jackson from Kentucky, a good center as well, that's going to fill some voids that they're going to have on that team. So no, I actually partially disagree. I thought they did a really good job. So with Anthony, next team.
All right. And now we're moving on to the LA teams. And next up, it is the Los Angeles Clippers. 3 picks. They selected, they all came from trades. Number 21, they acquired Keon Johnson, a guard from Tennessee, via the New York Knicks. Number 33, they selected Jason Preston, a guard from Ohio, via the Orlando Magic, or acquired rather. And at number 51, they acquired Brandon Boston Jr., a guard from Kentucky, from the Memphis Grizzlies, via the New Orleans Pelicans. MF, Los Angeles Clippers, your grade.
B. Because of the fact that the players that they got are pretty good. They're versatile. You know, they're gonna fill the needs that the Clippers needed, especially they're good complementary guys on the bench and everything else. It's just very interesting that they never drafted them, that they got all these guys from trades. I got to give it a B. I thought but even though they did that, I thought they did a pretty good job. So B for me. Anthony, it's yours.
The Clippers are likely going to be without Kawhi Leonard for at least a portion of the season, maybe more, so they need as much help as possible on the wing. It's unclear, though, if Johnson, Boston, and Preston, all of which the Clippers traded for on draft night, will be able to significantly contribute next season. Johnson and Boston are major upside players, however, so they could pay off down the road. I agree with you, MF. Solid B for the Los Angeles Clippers. Next up, it's another team that actually had no picks. So we said there were a few of them, and believe it or not, this team did not have any picks. The other LA team, the Los Angeles Lakers, no picks. The Lakers traded their only pick in the draft in the Russell Westbrook deal, but signed several undrafted players, including Gonzaga's Joel Ayayi. So this is going to be obviously another NA for myself and MF. Yeah. All right. So the LA Lakers, it's going to be an NA for myself and MF. So we're going to move right on along to the Memphis Grizzlies, who had 2 picks, both acquisitions from trades. Memphis Grizzlies at number 10 acquired Zaire Williams, a forward from Stanford, via the New Orleans Pelicans. And at number 30, they acquired Santi Aldama, a center from Loyola of Maryland, via the Utah Jazz. Williams was a top recruit coming out of high school, but slipped on a lot of draft boards due to a disastrous year at Stanford. The Grizzlies traded up to number 10 before the draft, and they found their man in the 6'8 wing who could develop into a tremendous scorer and playmaker if he reaches his ceiling. Williams was probably the biggest surprise of the draft to that point, and Memphis went off the board again by trading up for Aldama at number 30. They're hoping fortune favors the bold. Solid B for the Memphis Grizzlies. MF, your thoughts?
Yeah, I guess I could give you that. Yeah, I'll give you a B there. I thought it was a lot more. You know, they did pretty well. for the most part, and I'm. It's going to be very interesting to see. They definitely rolled the dice uh, on Williams, which is going to be very interesting to watch. But all in all, yeah, I'll give you that, Florio. I thought it was pretty good what they did. So solid B. Next team.
It's another pass. The Miami Heat. No picks. No picks for the Miami Heat. They did not make a selection last Thursday night, so that's going to be yet another automatic NA from myself and MF. So the Miami Heat, no picks. So we move on. That's another pass. Here we go. Your brand new, reigning, defending, undisputed NBA champions, the Milwaukee Bucks. 2 picks. Number 54. Now, usually I could pronounce things pretty good, but I'm gonna have a hell of a lot of trouble with both of these. So
Good luck.
and I know MF would have as well if it was him. But anyways, I'll do my best. Number 54. Well, in the immortal words of Ben Stein, I shall do my best. You know the bit. So, all right, number 54. The Bucks the champions selected Sandro Mamukelashvili, a center out of Seton Hall. And at number 60, they selected Georgios Kalaitsikis, a forward out of Greece.
Which is actually Pentiakos, which is actually one of the top teams in Greece. They're actually well known in Greece.
Oh yes.
This is Euroball now, guys. This is like their version of the Champions League, and Pentiakos is actually one of the top teams in the world. So and as far as Asmirishvili, Anthony, you should know this guy. He's from your conference. He's from the Big East.
I didn't see much Seton Hall this past year.
Oh, true. I really thought you would have seen.
Didn't get too many of those games.
Yeah. Wait.
Maybe I did. I don't know.
Are you sure?
But,
are you sure PC didn't play them this year? They must have. They had to.
If they made the turn, I don't know if they. I don't think
they
made
no.
the tournament
I'm not talking. No, not tournament, but during the regular season.
Big East play.
Yeah, like come on.
We don't really get into regular season until we're done with our NFL commitments. And
yeah, true, but still, I fly. But I still fly around, keep some tabs on my teams in the ACC during the season.
Duke and Carolina, especially.
Yeah. So no,
they get together. But...
I still keep my tabs around, make sure you know what's going on.
Yeah, of course. So all kidding aside, I believe you were supposed to start this off, MF. So with these 2 picks, what's the grade for our brand new champs?
I'm sorry, I got to give it a C. I wasn't really too thrilled about it, but first off, for Amidashvili, he was actually the Big East Player of the Year last year, Florio, averaging 12 points and 6 rebounds, and Kazazikis is actually a drafted stash, but like I said, he led the Euro under 20 championship in 2019. He led them all in scoring. So I mean, you got the Big East Player of the Year, and you also got a Euro player that was like the leading scorer in the under 20 championships in 2019. I mean, maybe who knows how that plays out, but I think this is draft and stash, maybe more like a 2 guys that could end up in the D League more than anything else. So Florio, it's yours.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, but I'm going to go a little lower. The defending champs didn't get much immediate help on draft night as they traded the number 31 pick for 2 late second rounders who might not even earn a roster spot. You'd like to think they could have gotten an impact player with the first pick of the second round, but clearly they have other plans in mind. I'm going to go a little lower on this one, MF. C minus. That's my grade for the champion Bucks. So next up, we have another pass. A lot of passes here. Minnesota Timberwolves, no picks. Wolves didn't make any selections in the 2021 NBA draft. So that's going to be another automatic NA from myself and MF. So with that said, let's move on to our next team, and that is the New Orleans Pelicans. 2 picks, 1 acquisition, 1 pure pick. Number 17, they acquired Trey Murphy, a guard/forward from Virginia via the Memphis Grizzlies. And at number 35, selected Herbert Jones, a forward out of Alabama. The Pelicans need to put shooting and defense around Zion Williamson, and they did exactly that with both of their picks. Murphy is a ready-made 3-and-D wing who should be able to step into a role immediately, while Jones should be able to defend from day one as his offense develops. A- for the New Orleans Pelicans. MF, you're great.
Slight disagreement, but you are absolutely right, Anthony. This is an A for me. I thought they did a tremendous job. Like you said, they got the guy that they exactly needed. A perfect guy that's going to complement a 3-and-D guy. So I got nothing bad to say. You're absolutely right. This is an A for me as well. On to the New York Knicks.
That's right. New York Knicks are the next team, and they had 4 picks. All pure picks, no acquisitions or anything. At number 25, they selected Quentin Grimes, a guard out of Houston. Number 34, they selected Rokas Jokubaitis, a guard out of Lithuania. Number 36, selected Miles McBride, a guard out of West Virginia. And at number 58, they selected Jericho Sims, a forward from Texas. MF, your grade for the New York Knicks.
Solid B. B to B plus is for the New York Knicks. I thought they did a very good job. Quentin Grimes is actually a really good player, really good explosive player. A guy who really stood out, especially during the NCAA tournament. Grimes was one of the reasons why Houston got to the Final Four, and played really, really, really well in the tournament. That's why his draft stock went up and actually ended up being a first-round draft pick more than anything else. So, no, he actually fits the mold of the team, and all the other picks were actually pretty solid as well. So, B to B plus for me, Anthony. It's yours.
It's going to be a small disagreement, but I'll get to that in a moment. It was slightly odd that the Knicks traded down from numbers 19 and 21 in the draft when there were some solid win-now options on the board. They clearly had their eye on Grimes, but he was a borderline first-rounder in most pre-draft evaluations. McBride was a solid pick, and we'll see what happens with the crafty Jokubaitis and uber-athletic Sims. But the Knicks could have taken a shot at 19 or packaged the picks to move up and take a bigger swing. This is going to be a disagreement, MF. I'm sorry. C+. That's my grade for the New York Knicks. And I'm not as high on these guys as you are. So with all that said, let's move on to our next team, and that is the Oklahoma City Thunder. 4 picks. They selected at number 6, Josh Giddey, a guard out of Australia. Number 18, Trey Mann, a guard from Florida. Number 32, they acquired Jeremiah Robinson Earl, a forward from Villanova via the New York Knicks. And at number 55, Aaron Wiggins, a guard from Maryland. The Thunder clearly felt that Giddey was worthy of the number 6 pick, despite many projections having him in the late lottery. And now it's up to them to unlock his potential. Mann also seemed like a bit of a reach at 18. And then OKC took a more win-now prospect with Robinson Earl at number 32. Overall, a strange draft for the Thunder. But who are we to doubt Sam Presti? B- for the Oklahoma City Thunder. MF, you're great.
Disagreement. A. I thought they did an amazing job. I thought they did a great job with this. I thought, look, they shocked the world at number 6 when they got Giddey. The Australian playmaker is going to be perfect. This is the perfect backcourt for SGA more than anything else. And then on top of that, when you add that extra to it, No, man, I think they did an absolute job, and um, yeah, this was an A for me. I disagree with your thoughts, Anthony. So let's move on.
Fair enough. Next team up, the Orlando Magic. 2 picks, and they were both within the top 10. Number 5, they selected a young man who won the hearts of all of us with one of the greatest buzzer beating shots you will ever see in NCAA tournament history. Number 5, the Orlando Magic selected the hero of that game, Jalen Suggs, the star guard out of Gonzaga. And then at number 8, they scooped up Franz Wagner, a forward out of Michigan. MF, I mean, Jalen Suggs, I mean, you remember, you called the game, you damn near lost your voice screaming Michael Fletcher moment on that epic shot by Jalen Suggs.
Yes.
Now he gets to take that talent to Orlando. How about it?
And not only that, but you also got a very good forward in Franz Wagner too, who's also a very good player as well. So I mean, you ended up with 2 lottery picks out of nowhere. The number 8 pick was originally meant for the Chicago Bulls, but because it was a lottery protected, because they needed to get into the top 4 to keep the pick, because they went into 8, it automatically went to Orlando. This was part of the trade that landed us Vuljicic, the center, and that's why we lost the first round pick. But for me, it was a solid B plus. I mean, this was a great pickup. Jalen Suggs is the star of the team. Jalen Suggs is the guy that you really needed more than anything else. This was the moment that they needed. So Jalen Suggs going at number 5, obviously a great pick. Then you get Wagner at number 8. Like I said, you can't go wrong. You could not go wrong with the what we called lottery picks. There's really nothing more to add, Anthony. They with the 2 picks they got, they did really well.
Absolutely. And to this day, I still haven't forgotten about that epic yes that MF let out on that shot. I mean, unbelievable. And while Eric Carrier and Sean May Lambert were both bouncing around like Tigger, and you damn near losing your voice on that epic screaming Michael Fletcher moment on that buzzer beater, that legendary buzzer beater that will go down in history and will be remembered for the rest of our lives, no doubt about it. But anywho, all kidding aside, this will be a small disagreement, but this is one where I'm going to be a little higher up on it than MF. The Toronto Raptors made a bit of a surprising move by taking Scotty Barnes at number 4, and the Orlando Magic were happy to swoop up Jalen Suggs with the next pick. He gives them a dynamic 2-way guard who can be a franchise cornerstone for years to come. They also landed Wagner, a do-it-all forward who was racing up draft boards. Those are 2 strong pieces to add to a young rebuilding roster. Solid A for these picks by the Orlando Magic. Well done. Next up, the team that finished with the best record in the Eastern Conference. They were the number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference this past year. The Philadelphia 76ers, 3 picks. They selected at number 28, Jaden Springer, a guard out of Tennessee. Number 50, they selected Filip Petrusev, a forward/center from Serbia. And then at number 53, they acquired Charles Bassey, a center from Western Kentucky, via the New Orleans Pelicans. Springer is a high-level defensive guard who was one of the youngest players in the draft. He should be able to compete for playing time immediately, depending on what the 76ers get in a potential Ben Simmons deal. Petrusev could fill a hole at center if Dwight Howard goes elsewhere, while Bassey has major potential and a high ceiling if he can be developed. Solid B for the Philadelphia 76ers. So, MF, Philadelphia 76ers, best record in the East. Can these guys keep it that way?
I think it's possible. We'll just have to wait and see how that plays out. But I will say this, Anthony, slight disagreement, B plus for the Philadelphia 76ers. I thought they did a very good job with it. So nothing more to say. Anthony, next team.
And it's another pass. Your reigning, defending Western Conference champions, the Phoenix Suns, no picks. The defending Western Conference champs did not make a pick during the 2021 draft, so you know the deal. Automatic NA from myself and MF. So move on down the line to our next team, the Portland Trailblazers. And they had one pick, and they used that one pick at number 43 on Greg Brown, a forward from Texas. MF, like the pick, hate the pick? How do you like it?
I think it was pretty good. I'm not going to say it was the best pick out there. I think they could have gone with somebody a little better, but he is frequently athletic forward, who'll bring energy, defense, and a leaping lob threat to the depth chart of the Portland Trailblazers. But I can only give this about a B, so that's all I'm going to do. So Florio, it's yours.
The Blazers didn't have a pick in the draft, but traded for Brown, a raw athletic prospect out of Texas. Brown didn't do himself any favors at the combine, which clearly lowered his draft stock. The Blazers are hoping he can eventually turn into gold, but the likelihood of Brown making a major impact next season is slim. I'm right there with you, MF, but I'm going to go a little lower. B- is my grade for this, so not much more to say. Let's move on to our next team, and that is the Sacramento Kings. 2 picks. They selected at number 9, Davion Mitchell, a guard from the national champion Baylor Bears. And at number 39, they selected Neemias Queta, a center out of Utah State. Monty McNair said he took Mitchell despite the Kings' crowded backcourt because he was the highest player on their board. And it may not be a problem if they end up moving Buddy Hield, but still, adding Mitchell to a backcourt of De'Aaron Fox and Tyrese Halliburton seems a bit redundant. And Mitchell seemed very surprised Sacramento drafted him. Queta is a huge body who can bang around inside if he makes the squad. C+ for the Sacramento Kings. MF, you're great.
Slight disagreement again. You got it right. You're in the C range, but I'm giving it a C-. I wasn't as high as you were on the picks as well. Like you said, the redundancy was kind of the thing that kind of rubbed me the wrong way more than anything else. But it is what it is. So next team.
Next team is the San Antonio Spurs, and they had 2 picks. They selected at number 12, Joshua Primo, a guard from Alabama. And at number 41, they selected Joe Wieskamp, a guard from Iowa. MF, San Antonio Spurs, your boy Greg Popovich, how do you do?
B. A solid B for me. I thought he did a pretty good job. I thought he did a solid job with it. Look, San Antonio just knows what they can do in drafts. They've always been really good drafts in the recent years. This is another pretty good potential more than anything else. I see potential. I don't know if I see superstars right away, but again, solid B+ for me for the San Antonio Spurs. So, Anthony, it's yours.
Okay. Oh, yeah, that's right. It's me. San Antonio produced the loudest gasp of the night when it selected Primo at number 12. Most mock drafts had him in the late first or even second round. But the Spurs obviously see something special in the youngest player in the draft. The Spurs have a very crowded backcourt, but are reportedly looking at trade options, so maybe a spot for Primo will open up. Wieskamp, an athletic knockdown shooter, is an excellent second-round selection and should be able to compete for minutes right away. B- is my grade for the San Antonio Spurs. And we only have 3 teams left. We're moving here. We're chugging along here. Next up, we have the Toronto Raptors. Yes, Toronto Raptors next up, and they had 3 picks. They selected at number 4, Scotty Barnes, a forward from Florida State. Number 46 selected Delano Banton, a forward from Western Kentucky. And then with the next pick right after at number 47, selected David Johnson, a guard from Louisville. So, all right, the Raptors deviated from expectations by taking Barnes, a defensive maestro who earned rave reviews during the pre-draft process, over Jalen Suggs at number 4. The move would be fine in a vacuum, but with Kyle Lowry potentially leaving in free agency and some positional redundancy with Barnes, OG Anunoby, and Pascal Siakam, it seems like Suggs would have made more sense. That all changes if Toronto ends up making a trade, though. The Raptors also drafted a Canadian for the first time in Banton and a big guard in Johnson. Solid B for the Toronto Raptors. MF, Toronto.
Slight disagreement. B plus for me. I thought they did a really good job. Yes, they did go with the Canadian connection at the end. But look, you're gonna add some stuff and some extra help along the way. And the thing is, they needed Barnes to fill just in case if Pascal Siakam, it looks like he might not be ready on day one. So we're just gonna have to wait and see how that plays out. But no, you're absolutely right, Anthony. This was well done. Pretty good draft for them. B plus. So next we got two teams to go. So next up,
Yeah, two teams left, and this next team is our dear friend Al Braderson's team.
yeah,
The team that finished with the best record in the NBA this past year, if you could believe it, the Utah Jazz. And they had one pick, and it was an acquisition pick. At number 40, they acquired Jared Butler, a guard from the national champion Baylor Bears, from the New Orleans Pelicans via the Memphis Grizzlies. MF, the Utah Jazz, they got themselves one of the best players from the national champions.
yeah, and that's why I give the letter grade of A for that because of the fact that they got the most outstanding player in the NCAA tournament. He's a playing lead guard role with some incredible offense, and while still scoring the rock. Look, the way you guys see it is Jared Butler is going to be a steal for them. He's going to get versatile minutes. You can use him as a one or a two, maybe a partial three, but all in all, great night for them and a great, only to get one pick, but to get the NCAA Final Four most outstanding player, that's a home run in itself. So, I mean, they did really well. Yeah, there's really nothing more to say. This was an A for me. So, Anthony, it's yours.
The Jazz traded their first round pick, then traded farther down in the draft, but they ended up with an absolute gem in Butler, a prospect who might have gone much higher were it not for some medical issues. Butler was rated as high as the teens on some draft boards. So for the Jazz to get him at number 40 and not have to pay him first round money is a huge win. Slight disagreement, but I'm going higher. I'm pulling the trigger. A plus for the Utah Jazz. Well done. Final team of the night, the Washington Wizards. 2 picks. They selected at number 15, Corey Kispert, a forward from Gonzaga. And then at number 31, they acquired Isaiah Todd, a forward from the G League Ignite, from the Milwaukee Bucks via the Indiana Pacers. The Wizards' biggest move of draft night had nothing to do with prospects as they dealt Russell Westbrook to the Los Angeles Lakers for a bevy of assets. In terms of the draft itself, Washington added arguably the best shooter in the class in Kispert and traded for the number 31 pick to take a chance on Todd, a high upside big who can stretch the floor. Kispert should help contribute to winning right away, while Todd could be a piece for the future. B plus for the Washington Wizards. MF, take it home.
I agree. B plus. You did an absolute job, good job. Nothing more to say, and yeah, solid work. So there's really nothing more to add. Anthony, we're done for the night.
Indeed, we are. And we do have a special announcement coming up in just a moment regarding this show. So hold tight for a moment. That will put the bow on this very special edition of Strictly Sports, one of our biggest shows of the year, this annual NBA Draft Recap edition of Strictly Sports. We want to thank you all so very much for tuning in. We'll be back with you tomorrow night over on MF's channel, Braves Fan 95, for another edition of the Cerebral Smack Talk as we continue on the road to SummerSlam, Friday night SmackDown. We'll get into that tomorrow night. And then Monday night, we got Ridiculously Raw. On a special birthday edition of Ridiculously Raw, as it will be on my birthday. Yes, indeed. No better way to close out my birthday weekend than with that. With Ridiculously Raw, reviewing Monday Night Raw as always. And my latest Tony's take on Impact Wrestling and 205 Live. And then from there, we will have Wednesday Night Mayhem with MF over on Braves Fan 95. You know how we do that as always. NXT and AEW Dynamite as usual. And I'm going to bring MF in because MF, you have a big announcement because, folks, next week there will be no Strictly Sports. MF, tell them why.
because next week, myself and Michael Bullock and many of our other friends and colleagues, we're heading up to Gillette. That's right, we're going to Gillette Stadium. We're going to see the first preseason game of the NFL season and the low preseason game, home game for the New England Patriots as they take on the Washington football team. That game will be going down 1 week from tonight. So we're going to be in Gillette next week. Therefore, no show. Anthony.
So you heard it from MF. We will not have a Strictly Sports show next week. So we'll be back with we'll hopefully be back with you in a couple of weeks on August 19th. MF will have another supersize Big Three basketball recap. He'll have to do a couple weeks worth of Big Three recaps for us in 2 weeks, and maybe we'll do some final thoughts on the Olympics and if any other big bombshell trades or what have you go down during that span. We'll have it for you. So, or otherwise we could be in for a short night. So we'll keep an eye on that for 2 weeks. But
well, we had like a lot of signings in the NBA that we didn't really get into that we definitely should talk about.
Yeah, we'll address those as well. Absolutely. Yeah. So yeah, it's very tough at this time of the year. It really is. And
yeah.
But next week definitely no show. So
yeah.
So we'll get back to you about future content. But for next week there will not be a Strictly Sports show next week because of that special road trip for MF and Bullock. So no Strictly Sports next week. So after AEW, after Wednesday Night Mayhem, it'll be on to the Cerebral Smack Talk. So that's it. So until tomorrow night for the Cerebral Smack Talk over on MF's channel, Brace Fan 95, this is Anthony Florio signing off on behalf of my panel, Good Old MF Michael Fletcher, Michael Bullock, Didi Woodson, and always and forever, the Yankee Messiah 401, Derek Ferrera. You know the routine, everybody. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah. Throw it up, Fortune Force style. Bye for now, my friends. God bless. Be good to each other. Have a blessed Friday. And until tomorrow night for the Cerebral Smack Talk, you've been watching our 2021 NBA Draft Recap edition of Strictly Sports right here on the Tone 25 on YouTube and StreamYard.com. For everybody who has been a part of this one, for now, Anthony Florio, so long. And bye, everybody. Bye.